So we're just gonna have to use our arm signals. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Ginger on Wheels, where we get to test and unbox the latest electrically wheeled gadgets. Today we have a box to unbox from Heybike. This is called the Cityscape. It's an electric bike that goes 19 miles per hour, has an alleged 40-mile range, has a 36-volt 10-amp-hour battery, and today we're just gonna open it up and see what's inside this box. If it's nice enough outside, we'll take it for a test ride. So let's roll the intro and see what's inside here. I've got my lovely father here as an assistant today. He's gonna help us open up this box. We've got 4 nice hardy straps along the outside. And it does come to you shipped like this, where it says Heybike Cityscape right on the outside. So if you live in a less than ideal area, you might want to make sure you're home for the delivery, or else porch pirates will get you. All right, so the top is open. Opening the bike, it's covered in bubble wrap. It's got some foam chunks, as to be expected. So there's 2 types of foam chunks that PEVs will ship with. These kind of like spongy ones that don't break apart. I prefer these, even though they're less biodegradable. And the other ones that bust into a million pieces and you need a vacuum. So I appreciate the fact that they didn't use the ones that bust up. There's a box right on the top here. Some nice pieces of foam. Looks like there's 3 big pieces of foam. So you can pull the bubble wrap off. All sorts of packaging in here. It looks like the seat is not attached. Nice color though, check it out. It's like a burgundy little faux leather seat. It says Heybike on the back, that's cool. All right, lifting the bike out of the box. There it is, can we balance it?
Nice tires.
Yeah, it's got some nice tires, nice grip. It looks like some assembly is required, more than I expected. Here's our headlight. So we're gonna pause for a second, take all this foam off, and see how the bike needs to be put together. I wanna show you guys. Ooh, I like the grips. They're like faux leather grips, just like the seat. Not very squishy, but they look cool. Attached to the battery post on the top here, or by the handle, there's 2 keys on a rubber band. So once you get the Heybike out of the box, you'll realize that you have a fender, you have a front tire, 2 keys, and the seat. And also the handlebars are detached, but they're still attached to the bike through the cables, obviously. So, are we missing a stem tube? We didn't miss anything, did we? So as far as I can tell, we're missing a stem tube here to mount our handlebars to, because I don't know what I would mount these to otherwise, where my light goes or anything. We have a seat, and we have the front tire with the fender, but I don't have anything to attach to here. There's no axles, there's no clamp, there's no stem tube. Let's open up this box. This is a box that came with the bike. I thought the charger was in here, but maybe there's actual parts for the bike assembly, so let's see what's going on. Ah. Here's our stem tube and the pedals. And it looks like we've got the manual and some tools. Should have opened this box before I got all worried. And there's our charger. And this is the little front bracket to mount our front tire on, along with a nubby. I think this is supposed to be for the end of the kickstand, but I don't know. And there's a little aluminum piece. I don't know what this does. I can tell you right away that this bike requires more assembly than most PEVs, so don't get too excited when you first get the box. It's gonna take about an hour to put together and charge it up before you get to ride it. All right, so included tools. Looks like we've got 2 wrenches and 3 hex wrenches. All right, so loosen the top piece on this mounting bracket. Make sure this piece becomes flush with the bar, and then you can slide this other piece up along here. Looks like in the picture they have theirs, so this piece is just barely covered by the top bezel here. And obviously you wanna make sure it's facing straight forward. No, this is just a plastic cover, or aluminum cover that just pops on the top. Doesn't screw into anything though. Can always readjust this later, but I can tell you, you need to make sure that screw is tight if you're gonna be doing any cycling. Or else the handlebars will be wobbling all over. Okay, new game plan. We're gonna mount the seat and we're gonna mount the handlebars, and then we're gonna turn the bike upside down and see if we can get it to balance to put this front tire on easier, because this is not easy to do. You have to line the fender up, you have to line the tire up, and then slide the whole axle through without wiggling anything. Yeah, when you unscrew this piece for the handlebars, there's a little rubber gasket right here, so make sure you don't lose that. Seems important. There isn't one for the other side though. Covered in lube. All right, my handlebars. Okay, our handlebars are nice and secure on there now. So let's put the seat in, which I assume is much easier than the rest of this project. Oh, cool. So the seat has a little latch piece on the bottom. You can push this and the seat folds forward. I imagine that's for portability. Also looks like it has a built-in, yeah, there's a little hydraulic or spring-loaded shock absorber in the seat there with a grommet to cover it so you don't get the grease all covered in dirt. You want to slide the seat down until anywhere lower than these lines. So you can go from here all the way up to about there. This bike is rated for riders between 5'5" and 6'5", so I imagine if you're taller, keep the lines closer to here. If you're shorter, you can obviously slide the seat down. Cool, seat's on, handlebars are on. Let's turn the bike upside down, get the pedals and the front tire on. Now let's see about getting this front tire on. So when you're mounting this tire here, it's easiest to have the bike upside down. You want to have your axle piece through the hole inside the tire, like this. And then you want to put your tire underneath the bottom, and there's a mount piece on the top of the fender here, right there. And you want to make sure that mount piece is on the front of this little fork. So once it's on the front, we're going to slide the tire into place. And then we can unscrew this screw right here and then mount our fender just like that. There's also two little screws on the side here that we're going to use to mount the side brackets of the fender onto. So the fender is held on by 3 screws, 2 on the side and 1 on the front. It seems easy when I say it, but as far as PEVs go, this is definitely one of the more time-consuming ones I've ever put together, next to like the Weep head, which came fully unassembled. Remember the Weep head? We had to take the whole battery, take the whole scooter apart just to get the battery in. Fun story, when the Weep head FS showed up, we had to take the entire scooter apart with no instructions to get the battery in, which shipped separately. And that scooter is like over $10,000. That was nerve-wracking. Okay, so you line up the little mounting bracket here for the fender with the hole in the top of the, I don't know what I want to call this, fork cover, fender holder on her. So we've got the front screw in. Now I'm just going to put these 2 screws in. Now I'm not doing this because I'm testing this bike to see how well it holds up just out of the manufacturer box, but if I were you, I would take these little screws and put a dab of blue Loctite on the threads before I screwed them into the frame, so that way they won't rattle loose. So when you tighten this screw, it'll actually push the fender over onto the side of the tire, so you have to find a way to tighten this screw while holding the fender straight. Okay, our fender's lined up. You can hear the brakes scraping as the tire goes around. What you want to do is look down, straight line of sight across the disc brake, and you'll see where it's actually touching the disc pads inside the rotor here. I can see that this entire disc is rubbing on the outer brake pad. I got a little scraping. So if you're getting just a little scraping like this, you can hear and see where the brake is touching the pad. So you want to stop the brake right where it's rubbing on the pad, right there. Take this section of the rotor and then bend it just a little bit. It's easy if you take a little wrench. You can use it as leverage and just kind of bend the rotor out of the way. Now that the rotor's bent, you can hear no more scraping. So our brakes are set up, our front tire's on, seat is on, handlebars are on. I think the bike is, oh, pedals. We're missing pedals. Do the pedals just screw in? Oh, that's nice. Looks like, they're labeled right and left. So this is the right pedal. It just screws inside the little slot here. And they give you a little included wrench so you can tighten it down. We're gonna go hand tight all the way and then just give it a few turns with the wrench and it'll be tightened on there. My bike is upside down, so the right pedal goes on the left side and the left pedal goes on the right side. And I think the left pedal screws in backwards so that it doesn't come unscrewed while you're pedaling. Very picky threads. Has to be lined up perfectly to go in the hole. Yep, confirmed. The left pedal threads screw in backwards, so lefty-tighty. Okay, so our pedals are tight on there. That's so bad that I'm actually gonna adjust the brakes. Can I have that little Husky tool that you have? So to pull the battery out, I realized that's what the seat flipper's for. Push the seat forward, you flip it, and you wanna get the keys. That's our charge port right there. I'm gonna see if we can get the keys and actually pull the battery out of the bike though. There's a keyhole over here on the left-hand side. Unlock. And yep, battery slides right out. That's cool. So the battery comes out of the bike entirely, which means in theory, you could buy a hot swappable battery, like a spare one, and just swap it in and out. This is backpack sized, I'd say, so potentially 80 miles of range. Get the charger out of the box here. Open it up. I think it's a 3 amp charger. So there's an XLR charge port, which is capable of up to 30 amps of charging. But the charger output is only 2 amps, and it's a 10 amp battery, or 10 amp hour battery, so it means it'll take around 5 or 6 hours to charge from dead. But you just plug one end of the charger into here. This end goes in the wall, that end goes in your battery. The light will turn red when it's charging and it'll turn green when it's done charging. Okay, so our bike is set up. My battery's charging right now. I had to remove the screw for the front fender so that I could slide the headlight on there, but you wanna make sure the fender and the headlight bracket are there when you put the screw in, so that's all taken care of. The last thing to do is pump up my tires to make sure the bike's properly set up. So I'm gonna pull out my Cyplus digital tire pump. I'll put a link to this in the description because I love this thing. I use it on every PEV I have. It allows you to just take the valve cap off the tire. You screw this on, and there's actually another little attachment you can get for here that's quick release, and it just goes psh. Okay, so that screws right onto the valve stem there. You hold the center button, turns the thing on. On the side of the tire, it'll say how many PSI you should put into it. So it says on the sidewall of the tire that I want between 40 and 65 PSI. When I screwed my pump in, I can see that it only came with 11. So I'm gonna push the button and just wait till it gets up to 40 or 65. I'll probably go about 50. Cool, we're at 50 PSI. And we will do the rear tire. Looks like the rear tire only came with 7 PSI. Okay, so I've got my tires pumped up to 50 PSI in the front and the back. There's this little plug that comes inside the box here, and that goes right in the top of the stem so that water can't get in there and rust out your bolt. So pop that in, that's the last step. Now we just have to wait for our battery to charge, which again takes between 5 and 6 hours from dead. Came about half full, so a couple hours of charging and we'll be outside riding. Now let's eat some food because I'm hungry.